Not well. Not well because they're seeking to bring you over to a false gospel and damn you. That's not well. Not well because their motivation and goal is evil. So are many of their methods. They zealously affect or court you, but not well. And the apostle's argument here is worth analyzing. He acknowledges their seeming good. They do zealously affect you. They do. I'll grant that. I'm going to say a few more things, but I'll grant that in the meantime. And then he understates and puts in the negative his evaluation, but not well. He could have said, they're going to damn you with their lies, but for the moment, understatement and negative, so that the people will think, well, how badly is this? He doesn't even mention their names. He just says, they. They zealously affect you. Because the Galatians know to whom Paul is referring. They zealously affect you, but not well. Yea, they would exclude you. Literally, they would shut you out. Shut you out. They would shut you out from me, the Apostle Paul, from my apostolic band, people like Timothy and Titus, and they would shut you out from the true churches. Because they would shut you out from the gospel of grace, which is justification by faith alone. And therefore, you see, to be separated from the apostles when the church is apostolic, when the apostles and the apostolic band is practically synonymous to be shut out from the gospel, because the two are joined and inseparable. This is how all false teachers and schismatics work. They seek to separate confessing Christians from true pastors and churches using various subtle means. And thus they try and separate true or professing Christians from fellowship in and hearing of the true gospel. You don't really need to go there anymore. Come to us. We'll give you it straight. We'll give you the better, the four-square gospel, the top Judaizing gospel, or whatever name it may go by. The gospel with signs and wonders, the gospel with bells and whistles. That sort of gospel. And then pulling the people away from true pastors and churches and from fellowship in and hearing the true gospel, they seek to win the weaker church members to themselves so that they, these members, might identify with them, the false teachers, and come more and more under their sway. And notice the purpose clause at the end of verse 17. They zealously affect and court you, but not well. Yea, they would exclude you and shut you out from us, the apostolic band and the true gospel, that ye might affect or zealously court them. This is their final goal. Once you've been won over to them, then you become subservient to them. You become their spiritual slaves and run after them, so that you now, having been seduced, zealously court them, the false teachers. And some of you at this stage might be saying, aha, I've seen that. I have heard that happen to people. I have seen how it has gone with some people who have been fully duped by charismatic teachers. I have seen and know people who've sold their farms and given the money to these charlatans. And then been all amazed that once they had their money, then they, bye-bye, left the country, snubbed them, ignored them, ran them down, criticized them, and laughed at them. Yeah, I know how this goes. People who've been hoodwinked and brainwashed by religious charlatans. And such people, when they've been fully duped, are then treated by these false teachers like dirt. And I'll give you a text for that. 2 Corinthians 11 verse 20. 2 Corinthians 11 verse 20. Here Paul is again dealing with Judaizers For ye suffer. The previous verse says, ye suffer fools gladly. You put up with these false teachers. Seeing you are wise, you think you're smart, and you put up with these false teachers. For ye suffer, you put up with it, if a man bring you into bondage, and they do. If a man devour you, that is, he takes of your goods, uses it for himself, and drives you into penury. If a man take of you, this is where it leads. And if a man exalt himself over you, treat you like a dog's body, and if a man smite you in the face, there is the full bondage of those who turn away from the true gospel and give themselves over to the worst of these religious charlatans. Oh yes, says Paul, there's zeal here. There's a burning hot zeal. These false teachers expend great time and effort with you, especially if you've got a lot of money. They lavish you with apparent love and flattery, but it's only in order to hook you with the false gospel, to fleece you, and to subjugate you. They zealously court you, not well. Yea, they would exclude you, separate you from us, shut you out from the true gospel, that you might zealously court and fawn over them. In fact, some of you may have heard how they work with especially vulnerable people. They give them so much care and attention. People are so overwhelmed that no one has ever treated them as kindly as that before. And then they deliberately start to reject the person. Then the person's confused, troubled. What's going on here? And then they begin to fawn after the religious leader, and he has them hooked. There is no new thing under the sun. But this does not mean that all zeal is wrong, or that all zeal is suspect, even in the sphere of religion. Paul then says in verse 18, but it is good to be zealously affected always in a good thing. And this is Paul's axiom or principle, and it should be ours too. Christian zeal is not wrong or suspect. It is good. It is, this is the idea of that word, handsome, attractive, and beautiful, to be zealously affected always in a good thing, in a worthy thing, in a good cause. And the great example of true zeal is the triune God who acts in Jesus Christ. Isaiah 59 verse 17 says, he was clad with zeal as a cloak, enveloped, surrounded, draped in zeal. You're probably more familiar with another text, Psalm 69 verse 9, which is quoted in John 2 in connection with Christ's cleansing the temple. The zeal of thine house hath eaten me up. I've been consumed, O Lord, with a burning, red-hot zeal for your house. And that's why I took that whip, that scourge, and I lashed out right and left and drove those religious fraudsters from the temple and kicked over their tables and scattered their monies, because the zeal of thine house hath eaten me up and consumed me. And this must be the way it is with us. We are not those described in Matthew 24, the love of many waxes cold. Nor, like the Laodiceans in Revelation 3, lukewarm. Because professing Christians and churches which are lukewarm, Christ is just about to vomit them out of his mouth, because they are repulsive. That's the way it is with most churches in our day. Vomit. That's what's coming from them. Because there's no zeal, they're lukewarm, they're nigh total depravity, and they're a blemish and a spot in the Christian world.